Well, hello and welcome and welcome and hello and welcome. Thank you for joining me on another extraordinarily special, monumental, possibly life-changing edition of Un Poco Mas, the show where we try to give you just a little bit more. Of course, it's me, it's Cornbread, it's DJ Patty Drizzle, it's Danny Deals, it's Hurricane Lopez, it's Stock Karen, and the rest of the voices in my head. Thank you all for joining me. I want to thank the great Nautilurker J Money, the producer and moderator of the show. The channel's been a little sketchy lately, just because I have been really busy at work and had some other stuff to do. So just haven't been making too many videos. I know people want to see SoFi, but SoFi is doing very, very well without me. And SoFi was a crazy buy in the 4s, 5s. I think it's still a good buy, but I'm just not trying to rush anybody into the stock at 16. Looks like it's hitting a fair amount of resistance. I think it's going to break through that resistance, but I think it could pull back a bit first. The reason I'm hyping or, harping on or just beating the dead horse, whatever you want to say, on SMCI, what I do when I look for growth stocks, particularly like pre-profit stocks, what I would call my risky plays, not sort of the core, like blue chip parts of my portfolio, I look for disconnects. I look for market makers trying to create these fugazi situations where they drop companies into the absolute toilet when the opposite should be happening. So with this stock, I've done quite a bit of research. And I've looked at the old allegations. I've looked at some of the new allegations. I've read the whistleblower stuff. I've talked to people about how these internal investigations are done. I've, researched the companies, the law firm, the accounting firm who were involved in those investigations, as well as the attorney who was brought on as the special committee of one, the new independent director, whatever you call it. Forget what her name was, Susie Giordano or something like that. It was an Italian name. I can't recall. But what it comes down to for me is this is mostly FUD. These problems exist around the margins. And even the allegations, they say, the revenues are real, the sales are real. There's basically the problems were accounting controls. And when you start to take a look at what really happened here, I mean, the company was kind of the victim of its own success. I mean, if you just go back to 2014, they're like $1 billion company. If you go up to 2018, $3 billion. 2020, basically 2019, 2020, almost no growth. 2021, no growth. 2022 jumps up to $5 billion, $7 billion. Their last fiscal year, $15 billion. It looks like this next fiscal year, they're probably looking at, something around $25 billion in sales. So sales have gone up so dramatically, and their legal department and compliance department have not kept up. And I think that was the main problem with the auditor. The auditor's like, hey, you guys are a $15 billion going on $25 billion company. You're not a mom and pop shop over here, trading widgets with your brother-in-law, playing fast and loose with the invoices, recognizing revenues whenever you want. That's just not how this thing works. And if you guys have seen The Godfather, I believe it's part 2, Clemenza is talking to Michael, and they're talking about a war. It's like, yeah, you got to have a war once in a while. Helps get rid of all the bad blood, like washes things out. It's basically a refresh. It's like a restart. You get rid of everything. And, sometimes a company like SMCI that is, sort of founder-centric, is giant ego, particularly when you're from certain cultures where, pride and face are very big. Perhaps there was some personality conflicts with their auditors. Perhaps it was ego-driven. But what I'm seeing is that people are not alleging that the orders are fake, that the whole company's a giant fraud. And when you look at their customers, even, JP Morgan came out with a report. They met with management. They went through everything and they said, no, in fact, they're not losing orders. Orders are robust. The customers are not going anywhere, and the customers are happy. So what's the worst that's going to happen? I mean, BDO is going to go through their bullshit, and they're going to say, hey, this is bullshit. That's bullshit. You got to come clean. You got to have a mea culpa. And this is what this company needs, is a come to Jesus moment, a complete bloodletting, a house cleaning, because the core of this business is incredible. I mean, that's what I mean by a disconnect. Where do you find an AI play that's on sale just dramatically like this? Less than 1x sales. I mean, if it didn't have any accounting difficulties and it was just trading like its peers, this would probably be $150, $200 stock right now. And if you look at what's happened on the chart, I mean, everybody's saying, hey, this is free fall. It almost touched 50. Realistically, the highest it ever kind of consolidated was this like 44 area, and it wasn't much consolidation. 50 was just more of a fugazi, but it did fill that gap, essentially, which I think will free it up to make another run. But did the rally end, or are they just shorting the hell out of the stock? I mean, today they supposedly returned shares, but look at what happened. So they're borrowing 5 million yesterday, and then somehow instantly overnight, those couple hours, they returned 5 million. So it's a 10 million share swing. Why? Because the call is coming from inside the house. They're all the same people. This is all a price fixing, shorting fugazi. And then during the day, during the time that mattered, it went from negative 5 million to negative 1.5. So they borrowed 4 million shares right in crunch time. And what happened to volume? Volume today is only 40 million. It's been 80, 90 million plus consistently. So the algo had a very, very meaningful reprogramming from yesterday to today. And it consolidated beautifully here along 38. And if you look at this point, guys, free fall, free fall, free fall. Where does it stop? Where is support? 38, right here. 9.6. Where is support again when the algo just destroys it? 38 again, 9.26. Consolidation up. Where does it fall? Where does the free fall stop? Where does it gap down to? 38. The algo loves 38. Where's the only place you saw this rally end? 38. Consolidated. Goes back down. 38. Falls off a cliff. Where does it stop? 38. This thing is going to leg up again. And that's what I'm talking about by a disconnect. What if it's all FUD? What if this is all shock and awe? I think an insider bought today. But you see they're returning shares, yet the aggregate short volume ratio 61.47, which if you're stupid, that is extremely high. During this run up, much, much lower. These are more normal numbers, down in the 40s, even in the 50s. But in the last 4 days when this thing's getting hit, 62, 60, 56, and 61. This is heavy, heavy shorting, guys. Heavy shorting into heavy borrowing. If this is an organic sell-off, why are there 152.57 million shares on loan and only 95 million shares sold short? This is because they can short the stock with these borrowed shares without having to borrow that day. And why is cost to borrow only 0.58 on a stock that's, trading with so much demand, so much volume? At least it was. Even in the run-up, the cost to borrow was staying, less than 1. It's just very organized. It's very tidy. I think they want your shares. If you had any, if you're stupid enough to buy any, they want them. Why? Because they know nothing in these allegations is a black swan. It's not an extinction. I mean, does Mr. Market really care if you restate earnings from a year or two ago slightly? And everybody's freaking out. Oh, they had to restate before when revenues were only $2 billion. They had to make a $150 million adjustment, and then they had to pay a $15 million fine. So their fine was like less than 1% of their revenue. Even if they got a similar fine now, it's not an extinction event. Even if the Justice Department finds some wrongdoing, if the customers are happy, the sales and orders are happy, I think that cures everything. Now, everybody's freaking out because tomorrow they might get tossed out of the NASDAQ 100. Again, okay, Palantir should go in. Who's the other one? MicroStrategy, they should go in. They're bigger companies. But I don't think that necessarily has that much meaning. I mean, look at the growth. JP Morgan, it's a fugazi. Like, why would they say, hey, all the orders are there, the customers aren't going anywhere, there's robust growth, robust demand, price target 23. Price target of like half of next year's sales. With a company that's already profitable, by the way. They're all people are like, oh, they must be burning tons of money to be trading at these multiples. No, absolutely not. They're already profitable. Like, well, that could be all fake. That could be all fraud. That's not even alleged. They're installing these things. These are real customers, real products. By the way, they have a new factory coming online in Malaysia. And people are like, well, they're overbuilding capacity. Do you think the demand for AI data centers is about to slow down or about to dramatically speed up? I mean, look at this growth. Look at this growth rate, guys. I mean, this company just in, 2023, it's a $7 billion company. And next year, like I said, they're expecting, 23, 24, $25 billion in sales. The company, quadrupling its sales in just a few years, trading under 1x sales. It's just totally crazy to me. I mean, they're just pricing this thing like it's about to go out of business. And I'm not seeing that. Now, the CEO could just be lying. Their, special committee could be lying. Any number of things are possible. That's why it's priced like this. It's extremely risky. There's many unknowns. Why did Ernst & Young quit? We don't know. It could be horrible. They know where the bodies are buried. It could be something as simple as management's just too stubborn and obstinate and difficult to work with. And they needed to be slapped across the face, and they needed a huge wake-up call. And I think this is it. I think the CEO and his wife and his brother-in-law and all his rat hole Fugazi douchebags, I think they get it. Knock off the shenanigans. It's over. It's over. Get it together. Play by the rules. You have a golden goose here. You don't need to mess around anymore. Yeah, in the past, you're struggling. But right now, you've got a money tree here. Play by the rules. Hire the right people. And that's what they're doing. This special committee, recommended a host of, like I said, house cleaning, bloodletting, come to Jesus, whatever you want to call it. And if they can get this all in order, they get BDO to sign off, perhaps with some minor restatements. But one of the special committees, things they came out with, and they had, forensic accounting. They had law firms looking at all kinds of things. They interviewed 70 people. They interviewed all the management. They said there's not going to be any material restatements. Now, there might be some little stuff around the margins. But when you're talking about this growth rate with real sales, real orders, I don't think there's really anything that's going to be in there that's going to kill this company. And if they can't kill the company and the business continues, the orders continues, the profits continue, and they get their legal and compliance departments up to snuff the way they should be, the way a company this size should be, this company is just grossly, grossly, grossly undervalued. And that's why I keep harping on it, because I think they're playing a mind game. I think this is a Jedi mind trick, a Fugazi, to get retail to dump their shares at 17, 18, 20. And I think it worked. And I think they're going to turn around and absolutely run this thing right back up. There's going to be some big announcement. Oh, everything's okay. There's these new products. We have this new partnership, whatever the case may be. And it's going to be when they want to do it. It's not going to be one of these times where a bunch of idiots like me are loading up calls, short-dated calls. It's going to be when you don't expect it. Remember when SoFi just sort of started its run for no particular reason. It wasn't when they made a GAAP net profit. It wasn't any type of, it was just when market makers decided to flip it. And that's what happens is like everybody's like, oh, the rally failed at 50 and everything's fallen, failed at 44, failed at 40, failed at 38. It's just fallen off a cliff. But the reality is that's not what happened. Retail's still coming into the stock. I think smart money's still coming into the stock. They're churning, they're shorting, they're borrowing, they're waiting for horrible news. Maybe that horrible news comes tomorrow in, getting booted out of the NASDAQ 100. But honestly, I don't think that's that bad. I mean, they're not that big a company. Their market cap has shrank a lot from when they were in the hundreds. But, this is what I look for is the market cap falling like a stone while the sales and profits are rising rapidly. That's just that crazy juxtaposition I look for. X. You guys know X to the Z, like we heard your brother's disabled, so we went ahead and hooked you up with 5 flat screen TVs right up in your ride. X, like, that don't make no sense, X. This thing don't even run right. He's like, yeah, we heard you're studying to be a microbiologist, so we went ahead and gave you 6 PlayStations up in your ride. Like, X, like, and we went ahead and gave the whole neighborhood your address. So they're going to go ahead and rob you of all these amplifiers almost immediately. X. No, Pimp My Ride. Great show. Great show. Anyway, guys, yeah, it's just another pump for SMCI, Supermicrocomputer Inc. Sometimes management is just arrogant. You go from a little mom and pop operation in millions, maybe $1 billion company, and you have a few lawyers around, you have a CFO, everybody knows each other, everybody's way too familiar, nobody's willing to say no. It's all kind of this, yes man thought bubble, and it just doesn't work at a certain scale. You need official procedures, rules, lawyers, accountants, compliance people in there breaking heads. You need to crack people's heads together. Hey, you're not following the rules? Boom, get out. That's it. Follow the rules 110% of the time, all the time, completely, no question about it. Because you've got a sales machine here. You're going to have a money press here. And it's going to reward investors that are willing to stay through this crazy roller coaster. Just probably could go down more. I don't know. I don't think so. 38 looks really good right here. It's been a critical number. A lot of buying coming in here. The multiples don't make sense if this company's not going out of business. Even a delisting. It's not to say they could never be relisted. They got delisted before voluntarily. They got relisted. Now, I know it's hard to invest in a company with this long history of problems, but like I said, sometimes there's a wake-up call. It says, look at the opportunity. Look at the company you've built. Are you going to throw this all away due to your ego, due to your arrogance, to lax accounting controls because you don't want to listen to someone else in a position of authority? You're so important that you're not going to listen to somebody else telling you how you have to follow these rules. I think management is waking up to that. You cannot have these improper relationships. You cannot bring people back and hire them as consultants once they've been implicated in accounting improprieties. It's just asking for trouble. It's stupid. Don't be stupid. That's like rule number 1. Don't be stupid. Don't do stupid things. Especially don't do stupid things again when you've already been caught doing those stupid things. This is not a company struggling to survive. They're going to be ramping orders. They have massive capacity, massive demand for NVIDIA. They also have products for AMD. They also have products for Intel. They cover all the bases, guys. This thing is a grower. It's a grower and a shower. Oh, God. Anyway, so I look at this as an opportunity, guys. I like this stock right now. I like NEO. CRISPR's fallen a lot. I like Vertex right here. I love Google. I was telling you guys that it's gone up, quite a bit here of late. So I don't like it quite as much. I love Microsoft, but not at these levels. It's just too high. I think it's riding the wave of AI hype. I trimmed some Tesla today at like 421. It's just too high for me. I'm not like getting rid of my Tesla position or anything, but I just, it's gone. It's like SoFi. It's gone up so much. It's just over allocated right now in terms of, dollars. The share is the same, but when it runs up from 120, where I bought it not that long ago, to 425. I mean, obviously, as a percentage of your portfolio in a dollar sense, it becomes much, much larger. So you just have to make these adjustments. Whereas a company like NEO that I bought higher, it goes down. So you got to think about it, guys. This thing's fraught with risk, accounting fraud. These are things you don't want to hear about, but you have to juxtapose that with rapidly growing sales, rapidly growing EPS, and do your own research, guys. Personally, I'm getting out of the call game and I'm just buying long shares at this point because I don't want to deal with trying to time anything at this point. Anyway, guys, I appreciate you watching. It's Un Poco Mas. It's SMCI. It's Danny Deals. What do we got? We got Nautilurker. Good. Welcome back, Nautilurker. Thanks. Not a Lurker's been working his butt off. Thanks for joining us. Anyway, guys, I appreciate everybody. I got to run. I got to call. It's Un Poco Mas. Thanks. Peace. I'm out.